One of my most favorite things in the whole world is to do something that I have never done before. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. Almost a year ago, I got to film a small group of people making glass beads during a Viking event. And I marveled at the craft, watching the hot flames melt the glass, and the bead makers skillfully turning the raw glass into fine pieces of art and replicas of Viking Age glass beads. And ever since, I have felt my hands eager to try this mysterious craft. My good friend Björke has invited me to his house in the Viking town of Ribe and has promised to teach me how to make glass beads. And I promised to be there early to help start up the fire and to chop firewood that we need for the kiln. But before we go, I want to thank you for tuning in on this episode. I hope that you're ready for a new adventure, so come along with me and let's learn something new together. I have known Björke for some years now, and we are both part of the same Viking group, mainly focusing on Viking fighting. Björke is a very gifted craftsman, and he has that rare ability to pass on and teach these things in a calm and friendly way. And also he's the kind of person that children will always gather around and flock around when he's there, because you never know when there's a fine story or something, a trick or something coming out of his sleeves.
So hi, I'm Björke, and I work here at Ribe Viking Center as a bead maker, and that's why I made a deal with Rasmus today, that we are going to make some glass beads. The setting for this is this nice reconstruction of a house from Ribe, dating 725. And in this house in 725, there were also bead makers living here.
When I first saw that group of people making glass beads, they used a set of bellows to drive the fire, to burn charcoals hot enough to melt glass. So as you can understand, I thought I was going to come to Ribe here today and work the bellows while helping Björke out, but I was going to be surprised.
So not using bellows and not using charcoal, but plain firewood, and to achieve the temperatures that we need, obviously. So what we're going to see today is us making glass beads. I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to do some show and tell, and Rasmus is going to observe in the beginning, and then later on we're going to put him to the task of making his own glass beads.
There is a very fascinating story to the reconstructed house we're in right now, and it ties onto the bead making craft. This house here is a perfect reconstruction of a house excavated from year 725 AD. So we are in the late Iron Age here, and in the very early dawn of what was later going to be known as the Viking Age. Ribe was a flourishing and fast-growing trading town, attracting craftsmen and craftswomen from many places in the northern parts of Europe, especially from Frisia or Friesland. In its early stages, Ribe was a seasonal trading town, and buildings like this here is a testimony to that. During the excavation of the original house, they find that the walls were never finished with wattle and daub like you would normally see, and could not have protected people very well in winter. Traces of several furnaces were found here, along with a strange clay disc, almost like a donut, but no bellows. The main theory is that glass beads were made in a volcano-like clay oven, fired with wood and with multiple air intakes at the bottom. The clay disc would then lie on top and concentrate the flame through the hole. Bead-making furnaces like this are known from Turkey, but they were not found in Ribe. But experiments have shown that when furnaces like this collapse after use, they leave a very characteristic mark in the ground, almost exactly like the marks found in the excavated house. An oven or a furnace like this can be built locally on the spot with clay and sticks and can be fired almost within a day. And just like that, bead making became a one-man job. A mandrel or thorn were also found, made from iron and with the remains of a wooden handle. And together with the clay disc and the remains of the furnaces, 22,000 pieces of glass were found during the excavations here in Ribe. And the rest is experimental archaeology. To me, there was one downside to this volcano-style furnace. It consumes a lot of finely chopped firewood. The firewood has to be well seasoned, and the furnace burns more than an armful of wood by the hour.
Don't looking like this here. It has a wooden handle and it has a small iron tip. It's based on a finding from Helge, where you have found a piece of metal like this here, but with melted glass on the tip. On the tip here, we are going to add clay and water. You can use any clay. It just have to be fine grained. We make a solution here, which is porridge-like, and then we simply dip it in. Ja, så kan jeg pille den først af, og så den, så den er helt dækket af ler. Og så er det egentlig bare tørre i, og så er man på den gode side. Men det eneste, man faktisk behøver, det er de værktøjer, der ligger der, og så en økse. Then the next step is drying it out over the furnace, and then we are good to go. So, simple tools. We have the dones here, and then we need a small piece of metal flat and with a sharp edge to sort of shape off the beads and manipulate the glass into the shapes we want. And then a small pin set. And these are the tools you need. Så er der sådan få værktøjer. Mejsel eller en kniv kan være super god at have, og en pincet. Ja. Men med de to værktøjer, så kommer man rigtig, rigtig langt. Nothing more. And then, obviously, you need glass. Raw glass like this here. This here has been in a melting pot for glass blowing, which has not been conducted here in Scandinavia. But if impurities get into the glass, it's not usable for that anymore. So you would simply knock this out, and it would be a waste product from the production. But here in Ribe, we can chip it into smaller pieces and melt it in the furnaces. Til glasset, det som de gravede ud her i 725, det var, der kan man se, der er lidt forskellige former.
Studies of the beads found in Ribe indicates that small tweezers, a flat piece of iron, and a knife-like tool was used in making them. But sadly, these tools were never found.
Det burde gå relativt tæt. Vi kan prøve at... Fordi det er også sådan en ting, som folk har startet med, fordi glas, det bliver sådan super klistret. Kan du se, den begynder at blive sådan mørk orange?
Det er en perle nu, det der. Eller skal den varme længere op?
Og så kan vi prøve at tage den af, så kan vi se på. Og så kan vi prøve at tage den af, så kan vi se på. Ja. Hvorledes den gider at blive rundt.
Det er ret heldigt.
Ja, det er nemlig bare super lækkert, hvis man gerne vil have runde. Ja. Så graver den.
Utilsigtet formgivning.
Ja, præcis. Den er
Already, this place is starting to feel enchanted and magic as Björke is making the first few beats. Again, I am mesmerized by this almost mythical craft happening right in front of me. I'm going to show you what it looks like up close, and then Björke will come back and explain what's going on.
Ja, okay. skabe den mindste overflade, som overhovedet muligt.
Okay.
Og det er jo kun fra starten af. Altså for lige meget glat. En fin cylinderpande der. What we're going to use today are small glass bricks, like you see here. Then we're going to preheat them on the furnace and melt them and wrap them. And what we are going to do to achieve that result is that we have a small piece of metal here with glass on the tip. We're going to melt that. As soon as it's melting, it gets semi-liquid or plastic and really sticky. And what you can do is that when the glass is melted here, you're going to pick it up, pick some more glass up on this one here, get it melted, and then you have to imagine this tip here being covered with clay. Then what we do is that we take the melted glass, sort of dip it onto, what I want to is that I want to have a drop of glass hanging beneath this one here. Then I want to catch the tip of that drop on the clay here, and then I start pulling this one here into a sausage-like glass stringer, and then I'm gonna turn this one here, turn it around and wrapping the glass stringer around this right here. Once the glass is attached to the clay here, and we start wrapping it, you can decide the amount of glass, the size of the bead that you want, by pulling the stringer thinner or keeping it in the same thickness. And then we wrap it around. Once it's done, the glass, it will get round naturally. It's the shape that the glass always wants to find.
It is clear to me that Björke is very skillful at this, as it takes him only a few minutes to make the first few beads. But he also wants to show me a few tricks to make even fancier beads. First he melts yellow glass and pulls it into a long, thin thread. Once cooled down, he now breaks off small pieces and places them inside another bead by holding it with the tweezers. The yellow thread then melts into the bead and forms a small decorative dot. Björke also demonstrated another technique where this small, thin yellow wire is melted onto another bead in a wavy pattern. Combining this layered effect with manipulating the beads with the iron tools, a huge variety of beads can be made. And the result was amazing.
Then we can do glass string decoration on the bead, giving it different pattern studs or zigzag patterns or whatever we decide to, obviously based on archaeological findings. Once we decide, okay, the bead is in the shape that we want and we are satisfied, we are going to take it and cool it down gently, first over the fire and then in the pot over here. And this pot here should be filled with ash. You could use any ash from any campfire because ash is a very good heat conductor. And that's what we need, a slow cool down of the beads. We put them in the pot, stick them in the pot, and after 10 to 15 minutes, the bead is cold enough so we can actually take it off, get it off. Then we end up with a piece of glass, but with a hole in it. And then it qualifies as a glass bead. Yeah, and that's it.
beadmaking appears to have been a very lucrative business in Ribe, but only for a lifetime or so, and then it dies out. Maybe fashion wore off, or production became too costly compared to other places in Europe. We don't know if the beadmakers in Ribe were travelling craftsmen or seasonal workers coming from Frisia or Francia or somewhere else, or even if the Vikings themselves learned the craft. But the unfinished house and the seasonal marketplace and the relatively short-lived furnaces might offer some clues. We have no proof of actual glass production in the Viking world, but glass from the south was imported in trading towns in Francia and Frisia and found their way all the way up to Ribe here in Denmark. It came in the form of raw glass, pieces of broken drinking glasses and bottles from southern Europe, and small square pieces of glass that were used in the Roman mosaics that had been torn down and then upcycled into something that we called tessera.
Nå, det er så. Nå. Det var men ellers så skulle... Så er det sgu dig. Din tur.
I thought we had only just gotten started, but out of the blue, Björke turns to me and asks if I'm ready to try for myself now. I try to hide how excited I am, but underneath I can feel that I'm also nervous. We swap places as I prepare the tree dorns or mandrels with the white clay. Björke supports me from the other side of the furnace, and as I sit down in front of the fire, time slows down. Og så prøver vi at køre det her indover. Og så vender du den op, eller det plejer jeg at gøre i hvert fald. Ja, så det ikke så er vi der. Ja, den skal egentlig bare være tør. Okay. I listen to the sounds of the flames and I hear the wood cracking inside the clay furnace. A slight panic rises as the first glass touches on to the clay. But I'm able to channel in on the craft, to forget everything around me and just let the tools and my senses and the materials guide my hands. Within 5 or 6 minutes, I have made my first bead, and as I bury the dorn with the glass bead on into the pot with the wood ash to cool off slowly, I am eager to continue with the next bead. After a while, Björke even starts moving about the house doing different things, trusting me with the tools and with the glass. And before I know it, I'm sitting alone in this reconstructed bead-making workshop, making Viking Age glass beads myself. I feel my inner child dancing and jumping as I am slowly getting familiar with the process. Learning something new is one of the best feelings I know. We decide to let the beads cool off for a while before checking if they came out good, while we take a break and prepare a simple meal. Kan du dufte eller hvad? Björke is a good friend of mine, and I enjoyed our talk as we caught up with things as we left them. But my mind couldn't help from wander to the 3 beads cooling off in the ash just a few meters away. The moment of truth has come. Did I actually manage to make beads? And did I prepare the dorns with the right amount of the white clay for the beads to actually come off? And did I heat the glass up slowly enough not for it to crack? There is a certain tension in the air as Björke carefully tries to remove my beads from the dorns.
Jo, det er sådan. Voilà. Som du har lavet. Den er sgu da meget sagt. Den sætter vi lige der. Den er også dejlig rund ind imod hullet. Der er en lille skarp kant derovre, men ellers er den sgu... Ja, det er sådan.
And I almost can't believe my eyes. 3 small black Viking Age glass beads are in my hand.
They're very nice. You can see what you want to...
Not the most round or even or uniform beads, but as Björke says, if they are made of glass, if they are round, and if they have a hole in them, they qualify as beads.
3 beads, and you made all of them in first attempt, so I think you should be proud.
Thank you so much. As I prepare to leave the town of Ribe behind, I thank Björke for his time and for our friendship. It's hard to describe how I feel, but I feel like trading in some glass, building a clay furnace, and keep practicing and learning more of the craft.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Welcome in. Welcome you always. Welcome back.
I am full of excitement and with a good sense of achievement. I have felt like this before, and it is one of the things that really keeps my spirit alive. I felt it when I spent time with Torben and Lone, learning about Viking Age falconry. When Jens taught me about musical instruments from the Viking Age, and I got to play the lyre. And when Gudrun told me about the healing herbs and the plants that I can find in the forest around me. Or when Anna showed me how to dye my fine woolen fabrics with plants. I always feel so humble and respectful around people like these. People who has so much experience and knowledge in certain fields and who are willing to take their time and pass it on. They are great teachers and guardians of our shared history. And very often strong bonds of friendship are formed while the hands are busy with the craft. And I feel very fortunate to have met these people and to have been able to share some of it with you guys. I would love to hear from you. What craft should I try out next? And what adventures lies just around the corner? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, feel free to write comments, ask questions to what you've seen in the video in the section below. I will get back to you in time and try to answer to the best of my ability. Be sure to click that little like button below the video. Subscribe to the channel not to miss out the future uploads, and feel free to pass on the video to anybody who might find this interesting. Making this type of videos takes a long time. In this case, not just my time, but also Björke's time. We need materials, firewood, food, and good planning. So a lot of energy goes into making a video like this. And if you want to support the channel even further, please consider becoming a Patreon. At Patreon, you sign up for a very small monthly donation in exchange for some exclusive footage and closed community posts and stuff like that. It is a great way to support the people you follow. And I am very thankful for all the support I get from my Patreons. The footage of the small group of people I filmed a while back making glass beads, that was released exclusively here on Patreon. And just recently I posted a video on how to make bronze needles or bronze sewing pins. So if you're interested, feel free to check it out. Thanks for watching and for coming along and trying to learn something new with me. Stay safe, and I will see you soon.